bump this story. I don't have a car. I don't know what's going on.
You got to cover the news.
I'm going to do the story. And meanwhile, all this time I know, like, I don't have my car. They repossessed my car. I'm out in the middle of the ocean the entire day.
Welcome to an episode of Moments with Marilyn. Hi, I'm your girl Marilyn, and welcome to my show/podcast. Guys, I am super excited today because I have one of Tampa's very own. I know you guys in the Tampa, Florida area see him around town with his microphone. You might see him on Facebook doing his little dance and write his little post and everything. So I am super excited to introduce this gentleman. And ladies, let me tell you, as Cardi B said, he's so sexy. What's his name? JJ Burton. Welcome.
Hello. Thank you.
I am so honored that you decided to join Moments with Marilyn. Thank you for accepting the interview.
No problem.
I appreciate it.
Thank you.
So I just want to get all down in your business today. So first of all, just a simple conversation. I just want to know where you're from.
Well, I was born in Waterbury, Connecticut. I grew up in Sandersville, Georgia, somewhat, and also in Bristol, Pennsylvania, as well. But born in Waterbury, so I say Waterbury and I say Georgia most because I graduated high school in Georgia. But yeah.
What high school?
Was Washington County High School in Georgia, the greatest high school ever.
What part of Georgia?
Middle Georgia, which the closest would be Macon. I think we're like an hour or so from Macon, and then Augusta is probably 2 hours or so from there. Yeah.
Oh, so it's a little small town.
Very small, yes.
Now, I know about Macon, Georgia, because I got a ticket at Forsyth.
Okay, yeah.
3 to be exact.
It's very small. When my mom and I moved here, I was like, why? But it was honestly great experience here, and the education that I got there was absolutely amazing as well.
Now, did you graduate from college there as well?
No, I went back to, the moment I graduated from high school, I went back to Connecticut. I graduated from Southern Connecticut State University.
And a major in journalism? Yes,
journalism, and then I had a minor in history.
History, oh God.
Well, I love history class. I love history, and I was always going to be a reporter. But I just love history and U.S. history, and I'm boring. I listen to like history podcasts and stuff like that. So.
Yeah, I saw that on your post. You're like, this is like history podcast. Yeah. So I know that I did read, because I'm one of your followers on Facebook. Yeah. So I did read that you knew from the age of what?
10.
That you wanted to be a reporter. Why?
It was right when the Columbine stuff happened, and I remember watching this stuff, all of it unfold, and the reporters on ABC as well as I was a CBS station in Philly, and just watching that all unfold, and I was just like, I want to do this. I want to be out there, and it was something probably even before then, but I just love talking in front of a camera, and just like 10 years old when it happened, and then from then, like laser focused on becoming a reporter. Nothing else mattered. Every single thing I did in school was to get to this point to be a reporter. Nothing else was there was no other option. And it's funny because like my family is always like, and I just I kept it to myself, and I would just sit in my room and practice reading or practice just talking. Breaking news is what I love, and it's just being a reporter. I don't want to be an anchor. I don't want to be in a studio. I love reporting, and I love breaking news, or like also doing like some of the fair stuff and like some of the fun stuff as well. But yeah.
So were you a little kid that's in the mirror like practicing like that?
But not really in the mirror. But yeah, but like I would be in my room, and my mom or my dad or my aunts and cousins always make fun of me, and I'll be talking to myself, or I'll be talking to myself, and I'm like reading, and I like practice how to read scripts or just
the tripod.
But I am also dyslexic, so I can't really just read out a script. So if you watch me when I first got here, if I'm trying to read, it will be obvious because it's awkward and it's just really just bad because I'm just like as opposed to just talking. So if I'm just talking and telling you something, it's more natural, it's more me. and I've learned, especially over the last couple of years being here, to just do me. And when I just talk and I'm telling you what happens without just reading a script and just have the points and it's all there. But like reading is not my thing, which is another reason it's good that I don't want to be an anchor, because it's just like me in a studio is just not
straight
it.
reading, exactly. And you know what? I'm a news person. I watch the news, and I actually can tell when a person is reading. And sometimes they may stumble over the word or whatever, but they cover it up very well. So
The anchors we have, they do really. But me, I cannot. It's just like and I'm like I get lost, and it's just not my thing. And I'm glad that I get to be a reporter, because that is what I've always wanted to do. But like I don't know. I probably if I wanted to be an anchor, I would just have to work hard at finding a way to do that. But because I don't, there's nothing else in this world that I want to do and would ever want to do besides what I'm doing. So yeah.
Yeah, I used to want to be an anchor, but now I want to be in the streets. I like to see things, and that's one thing I do like your pieces that I've seen on ABC News and some of the other reporters, because action news to me is more exciting as opposed to you waiting on the wire to come in and you sitting at a desk.
Well, the thing that the difference too with our station, and specifically where I'm at, don't work with the other stations, but like. Our anchors are doing more. They do like these more anchor journalism moments. So they put them on stories more, and they go out a lot. And if you watch the morning show,
I saw that.
They're doing more of that. So they're out in the field and they're doing a lot more work.
Yeah.
But they also, in talking to someone like Dia and those that they work in the morning show, they like being out there, and it's just it breaks up some of the you doing the same thing every day, so they enjoy it. Yeah. But they are doing more out in the field. And anchoring, don't get me wrong, anchoring is where you get a little bit more control and it gets the experience.
It's a very skill set.
Yeah, and you get more money too. That is where the money is. For me, always when I got to college, again, I've always wanted to do this. When I got to college, it was like sort of this wake up call with Professor Frank Harris, and he was just like basically broke it down like anybody who's doing this, you should be doing this for money because you're not going to get it. And he's like breaking down what you're going to make, especially when my first job out of college, I was like $18,000, and it was student loans and stuff like that, but. It really made me buckle down and like, this is really what I want to do, because you're not going to get money in this. Money is not going to come with this. It comes, years on, but even then so it really has to.
You have to be you have to be an anchor up there to really make the big bucks. And yes, my professors know already. In fact, last semester in our broadcasting class, he went over the salary. He said, quit right now and change your major if you think you're going to make a lot of money.
You really have to have a passion for it, especially now. Yeah. I mean, because there's so many people doing like the whole YouTube and stuff like that, and but they're really you when we get like new people or like people who are in college, I always say you have to love it. It can't be like you want to be on TV or the next Wendy Williams or something, because like it's money it's not gonna. It can come. I'm not saying it's not gonna come.
Right.
But the passion is there, and like for me, you have questions and I'm talking.
No, that's fine. You're good. You're good.
I'll let you ask.
You're passionate about what you do, which I like that.
Because I'm going to tell a story about so sort of a money wake up for me was I was in Savannah. This was my second on air job because I failed my first one. We can go back on that, but I was in Savannah.
Yeah, and I had you failed it. Yeah, I got that one.
Yeah, so we'll go back, but I had a newspaper job right out while I was in college. I got the job offer, and I worked for a couple of months, and then I got offered a job on air in Lexington, Kentucky. It failed, and then I moved to Savannah, where I got a job at WTOC, the #1 station there, but it was a pay cut from what I was making in Lexington, where I was on air the first time. And I had just bought a car. It was a Honda. I drove out there and spent this money. My first car I bought myself. My parents didn't buy it, but I didn't. Whatever, it wasn't great there. So I go there, and in Savannah, I was only paid $20,000 a year, and I couldn't pay rent and whatever. Anyway, my car was repossessed, Wow, and it was the day that I got my big story, the biggest story, which got my first Emmy nomination. So I'm waking. It's like 3 a.m, and I'm getting a call from my boss, and I'm not answering the phone. And then finally, like a couple of minutes later, I finally answer, and she's like, "Jan is her name. I need you. There's a casino ship stuck in the middle of the ocean on a sandbar at 3 a.m. I need you to get a boat and get out there." And how am I going to get a boat? I don't know that my car is not in the parking lot. So I'm like, I can't do this anyway. And so I'm like, fine, okay, fine. So I wake up, I get dressed, I'm going out, I go outside, and my car's not there. And I'm like, what the heck? So I don't know, I don't know what I'm going to do. So anyway, this is a huge story, and I'm calling. And then finally, I did a story with this company called Seatow, and they tow boats. And the guy called back, and I'm like, well, I can get you out there. I'm like, well, cool. My car's not there, so I'm just going to have to walk to work. And it's like pitch basically dark. And I'm like walking to work, and the photographer ends up, but stopping and seeing me and pick me up. And we go to the station together. My car, but you would think that like I would be like, bump this story. I don't have a car. I don't know what's going on.
You got to cover
I'm going to do the story. And meanwhile, all this time I know like I don't have my car. They repossessed my car. I'm out in the middle of the ocean the entire day we were out there from, like we finally got out there at like 6 something, from like 6 to 6 at night. No car. I don't know how I'm going to get home from the station when I get back. But I'm like in my glory, like I'm still enjoying all of this, and we're in the first live shot we do a live shot, and we're the only crew out there in the middle of the ocean. All the other stations weren't there, and I'm live right on the sandbar, right next to the ship, and I'm enjoying all of this, and I mean, and then my boss, and then we did that live shot, and I hear like my boss is like running through the newsroom, like really excited, and I'm just like, this is great. And meanwhile, I don't have a car, but I'm still enjoying all of this, and
exactly.
and it leads to in that my first Emmy nomination, and I knew then that I was like before then, but that was really showing me like, I'll just have to not. I made the decision I will be willing to sacrifice money for my career, but I wouldn't sacrifice my career for money. And
that's a good point.
And it was in that moment where it just hit me. And then a couple months later, I get an Emmy nomination. I end up getting, and so anyway, I never told
the ship on that story.
on that story. And
that's awesome.
It was 2 nominations actually, two from that, like best live reporter, and then another one for the story that we did. But and then I never told my parents, because my parents were all like, this is, wow. But I ended up like, dealing with that and being able to like save money and just back up. And then I didn't have a car for like 2 years. And then when I moved to Tulsa, I ended up, getting a cheaper car, and then like dealt with that to get that off my, and off my, credit or whatever. And just had to make changes, and didn't get a Honda, got a cheaper older car, and now I got a Honda Civic, but it was like I loved it, and I loved it even more, and even in Tulsa, like we did so much work and never really got a time to breathe, but I loved every minute of it. Like it was like we were working, and in Tulsa, it was in a cog station, and they run and gun, but it was cool. What was great was like there, we worked so much, but we saw the return on our work, because it was when Cox took over, the station was a Fox station. It was bottom of the barrel, last place station, and our news director came in there and like beefed up the staff. We had probably quadruple what we have in Tampa, but in Tulsa, you're like, why do we need that many people? But you just like saw every time, and we would be working like these crazy hours, and then you see the ratings come back and receive so many Emmy nominations there.
And you'd be so happy about it. Well, you're passionate about your job. So my question is to you, why Tampa? I know I did read in one of your posts that you said you was going to only anticipate 2 years here.
Yeah. It was
now it's what? I think 5 years now.
And I just re-signed my contract. So Tampa.
So you just re-signed your contract?
Yeah.
Okay.
So for two more years. So Tampa was never. It was never even on my radar. My sister ended up getting married here, and that was my first time ever coming to Tampa. And it was like, and that was 2016. I was like, cool. And I love jet skiing, and it was like the jet skis were like cheap. And I was like, "Ooh, this is great!" Like, so that was a part of it. So I was like, "Okay, maybe." But I was always looking at Orlando, and I was at a Cox station in Tulsa, but then turns out I got reached out. Scripps Media and the news director, the station here, reached out to me, and I came for the interview. And what I loved a lot when I got here was like the energy at the station was like high, but it was also people were happy. Like
they look happy too,
and like the newsroom was bright, and people, you walk in, everyone's smiling. And everyone, and through my interview and just watching, I could tell that everyone had, for the most part, people had a really good work-life balance if they wanted to. And I was like, this is cool. This is really great. And I could come here and I could jet ski and stuff like that. And I got here and I was like, I don't know. This is because I'm used to running and gunning, but then I got into it. And
so it's
and I was
a
also,
balance out.
Yeah, but then. The pandemic happened, and then I had some other, other mental things that going through, and some mental issues and mental break, and sort of that all. And I got good therapy here, and a therapist here.
Well, let's talk about that.
Yes.
So I showed you a picture of yourself, and you told me it was actually in Tulsa.
So that picture was taken in Tulsa.
So this is the picture, and a lot of people don't admit. Especially men, regarding therapy. I think it's very important that you share that, and thank you for sharing that, because it's very important. We have to take care of our mental health. So what drove you to the therapy and the weight loss? I mean, because you have literally transformed, not only, I look at your Facebook post, you've not only transformed mentally, but physically also. And I think one of your quotes that you posted that you stop beating up yourself regarding past mistakes.
Okay, yeah,
and you wake up every morning with a smile. You put your music on, you dance, and you live your life. And you can tell it by your Facebook post, because you're so. I mean, and that's what I wanted to talk to you, because you're so. When I look at your post, it's like, you know how the saying "dance like nobody's watching." That is you on your post.
So nobody's there.
That's okay. That's okay. But that is you. You literally look like you were just living your best life. And so, what was the change for you to?
So. Well, I wanted to be a reporter, and I was always focused on just doing that and nothing else. And I never really talked, and never really.
You didn't talk?
No, not. There's a saying that my therapist uses a lot with me. I am the loudest person in the room saying absolutely nothing, and that literally what it was. And even like my frat brothers, and I never opened up and never let anyone in. And I was in a relationship in Tulsa. And it was a really good relationship and a great woman. And then I ended up moving here, and she was still there, and we were plan, marriage and everything like that. And like everything else, I just like shut down. And then it was just like, and she's enough is enough. You're like, how old? And I'm like, at that point, I was like, what, 34, 34. And it's like, we're old, and so like, then that relationship ended, and then the pandemic happened, and it was all just like a lot, and
were
shut
you
down
isolated?
even more. And isolated and shut down even more, and just went through a really serious like mental
depression
break, and just a whole break, and before that, I was seeing a therapist, but I was again not talking. It was just going through the motions. It was just because, and she was saying like, why are you so unhappy? There's no reason to be unhappy. You have the career you want. You're not financially struggling. And we were happy. I'm happy. So it was just like, but I still wasn't, going. I was just going through I was just going through the motions, not actually investing. And then when she was done, it was over. I really, just like,
because she was your kind of your support system, and you
not
kind of
really, because I wouldn't even say that, because she tried to be, as other people did, but I just never was open with anybody, and it
And
was
you
just
still was working full time, weren't you?
yeah. But this was also during the pandemic, and so like we weren't going anywhere,
No.
and I was all the way alone,
Yeah.
and so I went through a moment, and I ended up going to a hospital, and then finally for the first time talked to my mom and
I was gonna say, I was just gonna ask
talk
you,
to my dad.
did you tell your
And
parents what you were
finally
going through?
I talked to them and finally told them how I was feeling and got the therapist, and then officially diagnosed with bipolar disorder, and got on some medicine, and so that woke me up to sort of just like life, and then I feel like for the first time I looked in the mirror and actually saw myself, and I was like, oh my god. And so I got with a trainer, which was a lot of money, but I was like, might as well, not doing anything, but just literally sitting in my apartment, and I never was like in my apartment. I would say there was like a whole month where I did not put any water on me. I didn't shower. It was literally just like it was a bad moment. It was really a bad moment, and got with the therapy, and then got the medicine, and continued to go in therapy and stuff like that, and then got with a trainer, and then started that. However, it was like a whole. It was like about a year or so before I actually started losing weight, because I was doing like the workout stuff, but not doing any of the meal stuff. And they always say that's the majority
80%.
of it. And it was, and he was like, that's the majority. And I was like, but I'm doing it. He's like, but you're not. Yes, I am. He's like, you're not. Yes, I am following the plan. Like, no, you're not. Yes, I am. But I really wasn't. And then when I actually started, and that's when all the weight started to come off. And like now I'm doing weights and stuff like that, and the focus is not losing anymore, and just like toning. But yeah.
So I see that you love the beach.
Yes. And that's my therapy, and I also I write poems and like short stories and stuff like that too. But that's usually that's just for me. Nothing's published, but yeah. But that helps me. And then I love riding my bike and love going to the beach.
Right, I saw that you love riding the bike, the beach, music, and all of that. So it's good that you came through that. A lot of people went through a whole bunch of stuff during the pandemic, especially with the isolation. I think I was still doing my podcast with a couple of people, but yeah, it was kind of rough.
Yeah, and for me, but the thing is, I always like, out of everyone in my family, I always like I judge everyone, and never really looked like you have your issues as well.
Exactly.
And so
are you the youngest?
I am. So I have a sister and brother. They both passed away, but I'm youngest out of them, and I'm my mom's only child. My dad had three of us, sister and brother, and then for my mom, I'm just the only kid. And then I have cousins who I grew up with who are like siblings as well, and I would be considered the middle out of them. Yeah.
Okay.
But I was pretty spoiled. And when I never really mind. As I didn't want my mom to have any other kids. I wanted to be, but now like as an adult, I wish she had.
Want your mom having one kid?
Now as an adult, I wish she had. I wish I had another sibling, especially because like I lucked out, which I didn't realize. Well, I did, and even my sister and brother, they have the same mother and father. And we share father, but like my sister was probably 15 when I was born. My brother was probably 14, and it was just like there never a half. It was we were whole, and they just like really embraced me and brought me in, and they were each other's best friends, and still each other's best friends, but had room for me, and I was in there little. So I wish as an older now, I wish I had the same thing, but yeah.
So right now, you're in Tampa. You've been here 5 years.
Yeah.
Are you single, dating, in relationship?
I am single and focusing mentally.
Amen. Amen to that. So what do you think about the dating scene here in Tampa?
I don't really go on many dates, so I don't know.
You don't hear nothing. You in the street. You a reporter.
No. I wouldn't say that it's I haven't had a bad experience.
Okay. Okay, cool.
And there are, I will say that I don't, which is weird because I feel like there's more black people here than when I was in Tulsa, but I don't see a lot of black folks out, like younger folks like my age a lot.
Out
And
doing a
Tulsa
lot.
is like, we're all out there,
Yeah.
but yeah.
Yeah,
But
a
most
lot of
here are
people,
doing
like, they be Netflix and chilling. So yeah. But so, what is next for you? What is really next for you? What do you want to accomplish next?
I don't really. I love my life. If I left here, it would be it would be 6ABC Philly. That's the ultimate. Just like the ABC WPVI. That station there is where that's where the first place I started watching news, and I love that, and that's where it would be. But I love being here. I guess I'll buy a house. My parents and my aunt is like, you need to get a house. I never really wanted one. I never wanted to buy a house.
It's a tax write-off. That's why they tell you that.
Well, I was just like,
you single, dependents.
I was like, but after like the rent that goes up, I'm like, the mortgage, I might as well. So I started looking for a house, and so
okay, cool. So in your thing with, what do you, when you in your story, you say your name and you say ABC Action News.
I don't know. I never really noticed that, but people, but like, and that's something like, and I guess I was doing it in Tulsa too, but people, I never really noticed that until here. And people like, yeah, I didn't know that it was that it was, but I guess that's just like my thing. You know how everyone has a thing. I think.
Yeah.
I think that's just my thing. I just never noticed it.
Yeah, you say JJ Burton, ABC Action News. I mean, okay.
And I did that. I think that because that's when I actually know what I'm talking about.
Okay, one more story. I did see. Okay, you did a story with an alligator holding a baby alligator.
I did.
Yes. It was something. It was a little critter. I don't know what that thing was. It looked like an alligator.
It was live. It was. I think it was like one of those things. Yeah.
What is this? Isn't this an alligator?
I think it's like it's something. Yeah, but it was only like 2 seconds.
And you like, I was shaking. I'm like,
it was like yeah. Because they tried to get me to hold it at first, and I was like, no, I'm not gonna do it. I was like, I'm not. But then I was
but you had to tell a story. You had to tell a story.
And yeah, I like doing.
And you can look like you was like.
I like doing stuff like that. That's what I like about being a reporter and like about being live. Like I love to be active and moving, and like if you've seen if any of my old stuff like on YouTube. Like in Tulsa, like I'm jumping over seats in a car, or I'm hanging out of a car, or I'm like standing on trees. I like to like move and. So
you want them reporting like to be where the storm is coming and you. No.
Yeah. If I could move, if I could move, if I could like I like to be active. Like there's a
so dramatic on TV when they right in the middle of a storm, wind, and the tree about to knock them out and all.
There's a live shot that I did in Tulsa. It's just like what I love to do, and we were talking about it was a fatal accident, and I'm like jumping over the median and in the middle, like and talking like that. If I can do that, that's when it's an awesome movie. If I'm just standing there talking, it's not gonna be. If I can move and use my body to tell a story, then it's smooth and it's organic. But yeah.
Well, it's been such a pleasure. So I know you like to dance. I like to dance. So it's Friday, so we get ready to get our Friday dance on.
This is going to be awkward because I usually just dance in front of the camera by myself.
No.
I don't even know the song.
Y'all don't need to know song. Come on, just dance.
This is awkward. This is awkward. I can only dance by myself.
Okay. Dance by yourself.
I don't know.
Guys, thank you for joining the episode of Moments with Marilyn. Thank you, JJ Burton.
Thank you.
High five.
Thanks for having me. This was fun.
Make sure y'all subscribe to the podcast on YouTube, Moments with Marilyn on YouTube. Follow me on Instagram, Moments with Marilyn, and I'll see you next time.